Hello. So, good morning. I'm doing my morning ritual, walking to my place of business. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about living here in Japan. Some of the upsides and the downsides, as with anything, right? So, one of the great things about living here is it's generally very law-abiding. People tend to follow all the rules. So, if something sort of shit were to hit the fan or something, people here would pretty much line up, follow the rules. If the government says, everybody's going to get 1,500 calories a day for the foreseeable future, well, that's pretty much what 95% more would do. So in a way, it's kind of a really nice place to weather a storm should the shit ever hit the fan. One of the downsides is, as you can see, there's basically no nature. Everything's been paved. So this neighborhood a couple hundred years ago was center of the rice bowl, and just tons and tons of rice used to come out of here, and this was all farmland. Now it's just a bedroom community. I wouldn't even call it suburbs. This is actually the capital city of Shizuoka Prefecture. And so, as a capital city, it has some benefits. So, anyway, this is the morning walk, and I'm on my way. Here's a piece of land that hasn't been sold yet. As you can tell, this size land for Japan is actually quite large. And I'd guess that the price for this land is probably about $400,000. Which is a crazy price, if you ask me. I mean, what can you get for $400,000 where you live? That's just insane. But people here are pretty much happy to pay for it. Then again, last year we bought a condo. We got a fixed rate mortgage. It's under 3%. Under 3%. I mean, that's also just insanely crazy. So the prices are high, but the cost to borrow money is just incredibly low. Another nice benefit, as you can see we're approaching here, is a clinic. National health care. You're sick, you see the doctor. Not only that, but if you want to see a specialist, you just book the time. You don't need a referral. So if you think you've got, oh, I don't know. Let's say you think there's something wrong with your liver or something wrong with your lungs, or you just go and see the specialist. The language can be a bit of a challenge in that the actual grammatical structure of the language is quite straightforward and very logical. But the main issue has been that people tend not to be clear about what they want to say. And so you have to guess the meaning of what they want. And sometimes that can be a little frustrating. And, God forbid you're sick or there's danger or something. It's a little difficult. For example, someone will call my house, telephone sales, and say, "Oh, I'm calling from such and such a company." And then I'll say, "Oh, okay. Well, what do you want?" And they'll say, "Yes, indeed. What do I want?" And I'll say, "Yes, that's true. What do you want?" And their answer will be, "Well, I'm calling from such and such a company." "Yeah, well, I know that you're calling from such and such a company. What is it that you want?" And so in some cases, I'm having to ask this question 5, 6, 10 times before I can get an answer. And it's only when I ask, "Are you selling something? What are you selling?" I have to ask what it is. Otherwise, they'll just stay on the phone forever. Or they'll just say, oh, you're a foreigner. Oh, I'm sorry for calling." And then they'll hang up. It can be difficult. But that's, life in a foreign country. You get used to it. So the language in itself can be a barrier. But not so much as the words themselves, so much as the culture that it's built around. So as I said, we're here in Shizuoka City, and I'm walking to the home of my mother-in-law, and I'm taking the back roads here, which I kind of prefer. As you can see, some of the main roads are kind of full of cars, and there's no real place to walk, and so not really my favorite place to go. However, back here it's quiet and you can get kind of a feeling for how things used to be before they put in the concrete. Well, I guess the concrete's everywhere, but the water that's running here used to be part of a complex rice agricultural system. So if you're thinking about moving to Japan, you can certainly do it. If you're going to teach English, which is what the majority of us here do, those of us expats who live here teach English, you're gonna need a university degree. You're gonna need a spouse visa. You don't need a spouse visa. You can do it without a spouse visa. However, if you are going to do it without a Japanese spouse, then you're going to have to go through official channels, and you're going to have to fill out the paperwork yourself, and of course that's going to be in Japanese. But generally, the Japanese are extremely polite. They're going to treat you with a lot of respect, and overall I'd recommend it for those of you who are interested in a challenge. But the scale of life here is quite different. I mean, everything is a lot smaller. As you could say, before I showed you that relatively small house, that plot of land, which would probably be at least 400K. And then here we have some gardening and some other gardening going on here. And so I'm almost complete here. Thanks for watching.